not Facebook.
Thank you.
Now, really, don't get on there though if you're in here, because it might. Well, we could test it. I don't care. And is it live? Somebody can't. Mally's supposed to be checking to make sure we're live outside the network, but we'll see. All right, so you got your sun times. Let's get going. So as far as announcements go, diaper drive. So it's going to be a really interesting summer to see if we can keep up our diaper drive with just the amount of folks in there.
I bought them all at Tops the other day.
So did we. You need to get them here.
They're in my car.
So there you go. So we're going to attempt to drive diapers through the summer and keep Florida Baptist Children's Home stocked with just us. I think we can do it, and I think it'd be awesome. So don't forget that thing that's going on. Yeah, babies don't go home for the winter or summer, whatever that is. Final Farmers Market next Wednesday, till October anyway. If you want to come and hang out, come hang out. It's a good time. Bible study's still going on both Tuesdays and Wednesdays. When do those stop, or are they stopping? Yep. So just keep them going until you don't see it on here anymore. It'll be fine. New Life Discovery 7 o'clock in the old youth room, which underneath the church, as always. Thursday night 7 is still going on. Have you seen the market lately? I don't even know what that means. Oh, yeah, they bring bags. Yeah, we did get 4 cases of bags, so we're pretty good for bags this week. Yeah, we're good. Don't stop bringing them, because we'll stockpile them. No big deal, but we're good. So Tops went out of business. You all know that. They were very generous to us. We bought quite a bit of stuff as they were going out of business, but then they allowed us to pretty much empty the store today. So we've got a lot of food over there, right?
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, we're good. Lots of food. So great benefit. Yeah, a couple of weeks anyway. We did buy some equipment from them though, so we were able to get some stuff. So that's cool. Mobile dinner unit, July 30th. Johnette and Jessica are putting that together. If you'd like to help on that, if you'd like to be a volunteer, so it's July 30th through August 3rd. See Johnette. She'll get you on the list for volunteers. So we'll need people, reception, greeting people, calling the week before for appointments and things like that. So there's a lot going on. As long as the funeral's over before July 30th, I don't care. As long as you cleared the church. Clear the church. Okay, so write this down, and if you're on Facebook or if you're on our app, if you're watching live, make note. Next Wednesday night, we're going to have our first, what I've decided to call State of the Missions address. You know, we have State of the Union, we have State of the Missions address. Rick's going to be here. We'll have Q&A as far as our ministry goes in Guatemala, things that are happening over there, things that are happening just since we've done our budget cycle and started. So just sort of like a business meeting, but we hope lots of questions get answered from you if you've got any. So it is your time. Listen very carefully. This is your time. If you have questions about anything, to be here for the first State of the Missions. We'll probably do one more. We're going to try to do it maybe twice a year. This is our first. Got questions? Tune in. We're going to stream it live and be in here next Wednesday night. So whether we have Bible study or not depends on how long that goes, but we're gonna give priority to that this time. Normally we do Bible study. If we got time, we'll do some business meeting. Next week we're gonna do State of the Missions. After that, if there's time, we'll do Bible study. So Rick and I will be doing that with John and the rest of the finance team and the missions team. So be here for that. Make a note. I think we are voting on something, so I'm telling you now, you're required 2 notices. We'll tell you again Sunday. So there's a couple of things we do got to vote on, so we got to tell you that ahead of time too. So be here. Any other announcement? If not, look on the back. You'll see your. I don't really have any way to tell who's watching on the YouTube one. No, they can leave comments. I've been told. Yeah, no, we'll have to figure that out. Like I said, we're testing today. With one update, Brenda is at home, had a bad day today, pretty bad day today. So they are scheduling a gallbladder surgery. So they're scheduling tomorrow for early next week. So it's going to be within the next week and a half or so here. So if you want to send a text to Brenda, that would be awesome. I'm looking for my pen. Donna, give me Brenda's phone number.
Oh, I don't have it. Sorry.
You don't text Brenda? Wow.
We sit
Look,
in our Bible
it's a G.
study. Sorry.
Area code 859.
Yep.
613.
Yep.
2526.
2526.
Yep.
So you drop a text to, oh, I should put her name, Brenda. Thinking of you, whatever you want to say there, do that. If you have any updates on the list that's on the back, feel free to speak out. Let me know about those. If you want to take somebody off. Yes, ma'am?
My son Steven, he's 97 days clean.
Yeah, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
And I'm leaving in the morning to go up and see my family, so
Yeah.
give me some baby loving for the kids.
Travel.
Steve?
Steve Dole.
Sean Brenda shared with us yesterday morning that Tammy Webb, that we've had on the list for a couple of years,
Yep.
they had a meeting with hospice yesterday morning.
Oh, really? Okay. I want to say I've met Tammy, but I cannot remember. I think I've met her. I don't remember. At church, up there.
You want Joanne's phone number?
Oh, that would be awesome. Can I get it? I don't know if I can get it. My aunt, whose son just died, I'm going to jump out of it. If I mess up, I'm going to screw up, so I'll get it back. Yeah, I'd love to send her. Let's do that. So y'all got Brenda's? Wow. It's Joanne. You all have met her. She's been here quite a few times. Area code 270-577-7180. This is her second son that's passed away this year and a half. He's Jay's the one that just passed away. He's like 56. Jay was 40 something. The one that passed away earlier, Danny. So drop a note to her if you know.
Did you get the card from Autumn?
Oh, I got a card from Autumn. So you all sent notes to Autumn about 2 weeks, so Autumn sent you a note. Peace Patton, I have gotten all your letters, and I thank you for your support through my journey. I hope to see you all soon. Sincerely, Autumn. And she made her own card.
Nice.
She's listed on your list there. She is at Compass Rehab. So you want to continue to do that. If you want to make notes, if you'll give them to us, we'll still mail them for you. Or if you want to mail your own, you can do that. Please do. Okay. What is wrong with you? You were at psych last week, weren't you? Glenn Bell Hours, you pray for us.
Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, dear Lord, that we can come together to study your word. We pray for these people, Lord, that are sick and not able to be with us now. And we ask your blessings and help us, dear Lord, as we go through your word, and help us to be able to understand it, remember it, live it, and carry their court date. Jesus' name we pray.
So you can grab a Bible. We're going to look at some storms again. I forgot to tell you about this box. This box that's sitting up here is stuff from Tops that we picked up. So you want to go through some stuff. It's all new. Just different stuff. There's medicines, there's vitamins, there's all kinds of stuff. What you don't want to take, we'll take over to them. We'll give to Craig, and he can take over to market tomorrow and give away what's left. But he was full, and this is just stuff that didn't get handed out. So look through it and grab it. There's some cool things in there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm glad I was down.
Damn, what weird little girl, aren't you?
Amen.
Amen. That's right. There you go. All right, so we were talking about storms. We're talking about bring it on. Seems to be the catchphrase. I didn't plan that. Catchphrase just kind of came. So that's where we're at with that. So we're going to probably just keep using that. No one's going to. Come on. I'm going to see verse, so over at Mark chapter 4 and look at verse, no, I don't want to do that. I'm setting something up, so hold me. Help me. I mean, just stay with me. So we did mention one thing about how you as church people or us as Christians are kind of the worst at sort of dealing with our storms in public. And I kind of get that. I talked with a few of you about that. And I understand that sometimes we don't want to share our storms all the time. You know, I mean, have you ever met somebody who's always, always, I mean, it could be their birthday, it could be the birth of a grandson, and they've still got a problem, right? I mean, I understand that. I understand that concept. However, as storms happen in our life, or when things happen, the real important thing that God gave us is each other. It really is. It is the ability to lean in both to Him and to others who are leaning into Him. So when you've got this fellowship of people that is able to travel through storms with you, it's an amazing thing. So the disciples are on the boat together in Mark chapter 4, and they're going through the storm together. They're all excited together, right? I mean, not excited in a good way, but they get all excited together, and they all go to Jesus together. So it's a concerted effort, and they're able. I wish we could see it after. I really do. Because just knowing the character of God, you got to know that after they got all excited and they went to Jesus and He calmed them, that their faith did get built. And they were maybe they were elbowing each other. Did you see that? Wow, that's look what he did, right? Look what he did. He calmed the whole thing. Maybe one of them looked at each other. You know what? I'm not as afraid anymore. You know what? Maybe they said, bring it on. If a storm was that bad and got us all excited like that, and then we saw what He did in our lives and how He took care of us and how He handled the whole thing and how He is in charge of everything, man, you'll never scare me with a storm again, right? And they could have been talking about that physical storm. But it happens in our lives too. As we're going through and we're getting, as Jesus and Paul would all say, in this world you're going to have trouble, and Paul would say, or James would say, when the trials happen, it's to test your faith, and this is going to happen, and it's going to build you up, and then you're able to, with one another, to kind of hold on, really grip, really dig and hold and see each other in the midst of it. I don't want us to miss that. Marcus, come on up here. Marcus is going to share a story with you. And I don't even know what I asked Marcus to share the story. But it's a storm. I mean, it was a storm. Maybe that's why. And that's all I'm going to tell you. And just let Marcus share his heart. So this is Marcus. He and his wife here. They live at Chinook White Marina. They live on a boat. Poor them. Right? Their best friend's Debbie, and her husband's not here tonight, but they live 2 boats down. So they have a whole little neighborhood thing.
Garrett's here.
Garrett, yeah. Marcus's son, Garrett. And
Debbie's son.
yeah, she told me that. Sorry. Backwards. I'll just shut up now. You just go.
Hi, everybody. Really good to be here tonight, today. You know, we were thinking a lot about the message on Sunday, and we all have storms that we go through, and I wanted to share a little bit about a storm that happened to our family. 2017, New Year's Day, at about 4:30 in the morning, we got a phone call from a hospital in Saginaw, Michigan, and they said, you guys need to get here as fast as you can. Your son's been in an accident. And that's the call you never want to get as a parent, as a mom. And we jumped up and, you know, put a few things together and drove. It was going to be about a 3-hour drive, almost 4-hour drive. And partway there, I talked to the emergency room, talked to the ER doctor there at the trauma center, and he's trying to get some information. So he's telling me what's going on with our son. And he said, you know, we're packaging him right now to go to Ann Arbor, which is the University of Michigan, because we can't take care of his injuries here. And I knew what that meant. I have a background as a trauma surgeon. And so we changed directions, headed towards Ann Arbor, and to this day, I think the sound of a helicopter is not comforting. We see the helicopters flying down. We were in New York City not too long ago, and just bad feeling, because as we got to Ann Arbor and pulled into the parking garage, the helicopter landed that was carrying our son, and we got to see him briefly in the ER before they took him up to the trauma ICU. And a little bit after that, started getting some information about what happened. We saw the first CT scan, and my heart sunk. So I knew what that CT showed, and how to tell that to my family, to my wife. So the bottom line was there was an accident. He wasn't driving. There was another kid in the car that was driving, but they told the police that our son was driving, and it didn't make sense to us just because we know what he's like, what his behavior is like. And we said, okay, maybe you made a mistake that night, you know. But it didn't all add up. Anyway, he had some very, very severe injuries, and he died a few days later. Never woke up, never regained consciousness. And I mean, that's a storm. It's hard even now for me to talk about and explain. But the story goes on. Unfortunately, the storm grows even after that, even in the middle of our misery and sorrow and heartbreak. This 25-year-old beautiful young man who was healthy, strapping young man. So we asked for an investigation. Obviously, that was starting. The local sheriff department really botched the investigation. That's hard to say, but that's the bottom line. We asked for additional investigation, got pushed back. You know, we wanted to find out what had happened. We were promised that we would be told what the truth was, and we never got that opportunity. So we started finding out more and more information that started pointing towards what the cops had been told wasn't true, that our son wasn't driving. In fact, this other person was driving, and maybe there had even been another car involved. Like, what's going on? This story is growing and growing. So in the end of that investigation, we met with the chief prosecuting attorney's office, and he said there's not going to be any charges. And that's when the bottom kind of fell out. And so this went on. And now at this point, just to kind of catch you up, speed it up, we've asked the state of attorney general's office in Michigan to look into this, and they're looking at the evidence that we have. So we have pretty clear evidence from forensic investigation that we paid for on our own that there was a second car. We've had tips come forward that yes, this other person was driving, in fact was playing cat and mouse with his sister who was in another vehicle, and they caused a collision. And then we found out that the reason they didn't call the police, which I forgot to tell you that, no one called 911. And our son laid in that field for almost 2 hours it goes on. I mean, it just is a storm, just a horrible storm. So we found out that through some tips that there was a nurse that was dating the other kid's sister, who worked at the hospital that I used to be chief of staff at, who said to them, don't call the police. Bring your brother in a private car so that he doesn't get a DUI. And they left our son there to die. And so by the time he finally got found, or they brought him in actually separately, he had lost a lot of blood. He was cold. And the consensus was that long period of blood loss, hypertension is what ultimately causes death. So we've been living with this for a year and 4 months and trying to find some reason. You can't find a reason, that's for sure. We've kind of come to that conclusion. But how do we deal with this? How do we move forward? How do we get out of this storm even? I don't know those answers right now, but I do know that just like you said, we learn to lean on each other, and I really thank God that we found this church. We're both very spiritual people, but had been looking for a church to call our own, either in Michigan or down here, and we're very thankful for that. We've made some really good bonds with people down here, and really appreciate Sean's leadership. It's just a storm that keeps hitting you. And yes, it's true that each storm that happens makes you a little stronger, and so that last storm doesn't seem quite as bad. And I'm thankful for that, because in other ways our life has gotten better and better as I think we've come to depend more on God. But I guess the question I have, even after the lesson on Sunday, is, did I need that big of a storm? Were we that far off the path that we needed that big of a storm? I don't know. I do know that I'm a lot closer to my wife and to God through this, but I know I would have given my soul and my life for my son to live. But of course that's not our choice. But that's my story, that's our story. That's part of the reason we're here. We feel a very strong connection with this church. And that's our story.
I'm glad you asked that question, because I didn't really know what I was going to follow up with. I mean, did I need that big of a storm? No, absolutely not. Are our storms relatable to the path that we're on with God based on the size of the storm versus how close we need to get back? Absolutely not. I think in no way. What I think I know, and I will definitely say that, what I think I know. So everyone just imagine for a minute, try not to compare storms, because that's definitely, we don't ever want to go there. Every single one of you have one. Okay? I don't care what it is. And by storm, so let's define storm real fast. Storm is anything, and I mean anything, that, I have to use a basic word, takes away your kumbaya. We all understand kumbaya, right? I mean, it's the great feeling when you're sitting around the campfire, you have zero worries, right? There's nothing going, because you're out in the woods, you've gone on a retreat, right? So you have that moment, and it's really just a glimpse. That feeling is just a glimpse in the grand scheme. So then you come back to reality. You ever had vacation blues? Just like that. So that's a storm. So that's where I want you to go with as far as, well, do I have any storms in my life? Absolutely you do. Okay? It's a conflict with the spouse. It's an argument. It's anything. You're just hounded with just something that's taken away your kumbaya. It's just messing you up. So we all have them. So now think about it for just a minute. And what that's doing. So we don't have to worry about the the severity, okay, severity doesn't matter. And cautiously, let me say, in the scheme, because your storm does matter to you, and that's a severe storm, and the town holding up your building permit for your mansion, it's a storm. Okay, severity-wise, in comparison, duh. So we don't do that. Stay away from that layer. Okay, jump up a layer. Just recognize the presence of the storm. Okay, because the leaning that's required is the exact same, regardless of the size. Okay, so no, I don't have to have a big one like this to get back, and I don't think God says, well, I got to really do something to get their attention, because the little thing can cause you to get his, or can cause you to give him the attention. It doesn't matter what it, as long as you're prepared. As long as we're prepared, that at the moment the storm happens, that we remember those things we talked about. The presence and the purpose. Not, and I heard you say, I ask why. And there isn't an answer. Absolutely not. And you may not ever get an answer for any of your storms as far as purpose on the planet. So we never look for our purpose in the storm. Because if we start looking at our purpose in the storm, you can go all over the place, right? Well, maybe I was supposed to do this, or maybe I was supposed to be here, or maybe I was, and I. When in reality, when we say that we're in the storm with purpose, then we're talking about the purpose of God, that God has control over the storm. And I'm hopefully clear on Sunday that I'm not ever trying to say that I know that God caused the storm or allowed the storm, because I don't think that matters. I mean, how many of us in the middle of a storm really want to find out if God caused it or not, right? Because let's just pretend the answer was yes. What are you going to do? Or God allowed the storm. Okay, what are we going to do? The same answer, nothing. We're not going to do anything about that. The fact that he caused or allowed doesn't really play into it. So we jump up a layer again and we say, so we're just back to the storm. Not how big, not how often, not how in comparison, not any of that. It's just the storm. And it is in his purposes that there's a storm. I mean, if you think about that boat for just a minute, it was God's idea to go across the lake. And we know that on the other side of the lake, remember, there was the guy who had the demon. So we know that God himself needed to do something. He didn't even need to take the disciples through the storm to get something done with the disciples. He simply had to go across the lake to fulfill what God had going on. So God himself needed to pass through to get something done. It was God's purpose that had to be fulfilled. So the storm happened in the middle of God's purposes. So I think you and I sometimes get hung up on our purpose. You know, I want my purpose. I want to know what I'm supposed to do. Those disciples were just riding along. They were just along for the ride. They were just traveling with God. And that's you and me so often. We're just traveling through. Paul wants us to get through our thick skulls. We're traveling through this planet, just passing. It's going to be, you know, we all say life's fast, but we have zero clue what that really means. Yeah. In the glimpse of eternity, how little this actually matters. Right? So as we're up in this other level of just the storm, and it's God's purposes that's going along, and we're just riding in the boat with him, and because he's there, it now makes us really lean in regardless of what that storm looks like. I think we can get to the point to where the hurt's still going to be here no matter what happened. The frustration's still going to be here regardless of what's happening, whatever that storm looks like. So you're going to have all those tied emotions to them. But also, as we press in, as we seek him, we start to hear things that we don't want to hear. we start to hear, I'm going to calm you. I am. Okay? I'm going to make that storm go away sometimes. But what I really want you to get is that it's not anything about the storm. It's literally not about the storm. It's about me. And what he's talking about is the whole thing. The whole thing. Life from A to Z is about him and not us. And as we pull through this thing, and as we're passing through this thing, and these things are happening to us, and those things are happening to us, and he's saying, don't take your eyes off me, because the whole thing is about me. You're just along for the ride. And when you hear a storm like that, that's hard to hear. It's extremely hard to hear that in the scheme of a storm like that, that this thing's still just about God. Just about him. Not even me and how I go about it and what he can teach me, but it's just about him. We really want life to be about us. I know that. It's kind of in our nature. But it's not the God nature that we're talking about. It's the sin nature. Marcus, I got to tell y'all, you're sitting in a room, and they can share if they want to share, that I can point at 3 in the exact same boat, in the exact same storm. I know of 3. There's probably more. Current storms. We're texting one at 2 in a year and a half. It's rampant. Storms are rampant. Big storms are rampant. Little storms are rampant. And in all that, God is calling us to him to remind us it's about him. I don't even want us to focus. Don't forget he's with us in the storm. He's reminding us it's just him, period. That when you get up tomorrow, your day is not yours. When you get up tomorrow, your plan is not what this is about. Your success is not what this is about. Your ideas for the day, not what this is about. Getting your way, not what this is about. The plan for tomorrow is about him. Yeah, he has things for us to do when we ask him, and we really go into that, and we really preach that, we really push that, but it is literally all about him. Which does make the storms easier to handle. And yeah, it makes the smaller storms a lot easier to handle. Yeah. But it can make the big storms a little easier to handle too. Not get over, just handle. I mean, if I could really switch my life to understand that I'm not even, what's the Bible tell us? That this life's not even my own. What was it, David that said this life's not even my own? Or was it Paul? Somebody Google that. I gotta know now. This life's not my own. Okay? It's the understanding. It's the understanding that I'm coming to God and I'm saying, I'm giving you all of it. Literally all of it. Not for your service. I'm just giving it up. I'm relinquishing my rights to my life. Is that sobering to anybody else? That I'm not saying I'm joining in. I'm asking you to walk with me in my life. That's not what I'm saying. I am relinquishing rights. I am turning over management. I am deciding that I'm not making any more plans anymore. I'm only going to make it about me. Gosh, doesn't it sound good? Right? I mean, I'm here saying it going, man, that would be nice. How do I get there? What does that actually look like? Well, this is a start. This is a start to understand that the storm was his purpose. The storm is happening in his presence. And I don't really need to go to step 3. If he's there, and it's for him anyway, or it's about him anyway, I don't really need the 3rd step. Wouldn't that be awesome? Wouldn't that be a great testimony? Think of the amount of things. No, okay, hold that. And now let's jump base on that. And let's talk about the amount of storms you create.
Romans 8.
Let's make it a little lighter. What's that?
Romans 8, by the way.
What's it say? So Paul did write it. Okay. Oh, whatever.
Okay.
If you ever get there.
Yeah, I will get that.
We'll get there. Okay, so here. Now, take that premise, take that idea. It's God is present, and the whole life is about his purpose. His purpose, not my idea of his purpose alone. How many storms do you create by trying to make it your purpose? Trying to make it outside of God's presence. I just talked, I can't remember who it was, Monday, we were just talking about, yeah, I know, I get up and I pray, and I'm asking God to take care of what I just messed up. And I think we've talked about that 1,000 times in here. But that mentality says, it's my boat, God. You're just along for the ride. And if we're going to hit some big waves, I'll let you know when I need you to calm them. My minister growing up had a sign that when his youth minister office, I saw it every single day of my life. And it said, sometimes the Lord calms the storm. Sometimes he lets the storm rage and he calms his child. And I grew up with that, and I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. And according to this story, that's exactly what happened. But as I'm digging in, I'm finding out, I think he ignores the storm now. I think he only focuses on calming me. Because if I live by that sign, that's what makes me pray. Make this storm go away. Don't let me go into a storm. I won't ask you to raise your hands, but as Marcus is telling the story, I bet at least one of us said, I hope that never happens to me. And that's a very human thing to say. But do you understand? That's just you imagining life as your boat. And God never lets that storm hit you. I don't understand how hard of a switch this is. I know this isn't normal. This doesn't sell TV evangelistic programs. I know. This isn't mainstream stuff that you're going to get people to buy into really easily. Because we've been sold a bill of goods that says, this is as good as it gets. If you can just attach yourself to God in this life, this is awesome. And you'll see this life as good. And yet every teaching I can find in the Bible is you'll never find this life being described as good. You will find him being described as good all the time. You will find life in him good, but not life on the planet good because of him. And when we're trying to make life on this planet good just because we have Christ in our life, that's us driving our boat, asking God to just ride along and make sure the storms never happen. So it's really a switch. It's really us looking at God and saying, I understand this isn't my life. And still saying, please don't let that storm happen to me. Understanding that this is all God. We have to get there. I don't think you have a choice in that. You have to get there to understand that it's all God, it's all his purpose, and he's here. He's not going anywhere. And yet being able to truthfully say, I don't like this storm. Because God still understands our hurts. God still understands the fact that you're living in a fleshly body who has to experience all this stuff while you're here. And then you got Paul standing out there going, but you don't even belong here. Oh yeah, you're right, this is not, I understand that. But it still hurts. Paul says, I get that. But you still don't belong here. This isn't where you live. Meaning, this isn't home. This life, I know I've said it many times, if this is all there is, take me out now. Right? Just let's check out. And let's not even do this anymore. If I'm just striving for life to be good, I want to get to the point in my life to where even a storm this severe doesn't matter. And that sounds harsh, and I don't mean it that way. But I want to get there. I do. I don't want people to think I'm insensitive. I don't want that to happen. But in my attitude, I want to be able to look at this planet and say, it really doesn't matter. I'm not going to be here long enough to worry about it. This is God. This is God. This is His purpose. This is His presence. I just want to live here. I want to be able to say here is God's presence. I want that. I'm not there. But I want to be there. And on a little lighter note, back to those storms you create, I can at least definitely look at my government and say, that doesn't matter. Right? I can at least look at the things that are going on the planet and go, that doesn't matter. I don't have to create that storm in my life. I can at least be the person who, when everybody's going crazy over something, that I can say, that just doesn't matter. I don't even have time for that. If that's all the storm is, bring it on, right? If that's it, bring it on. Because I can definitely see, can't you see that that has no clue? Any of that, nothing. I don't have to fight for any of that, right? I don't have to. It's going to sound insensitive. It doesn't matter. I've got to save the unborn baby. Really? The baby you didn't create in the first place? Now God needs you? I just want your trains of thoughts to start thinking. That's all I want you to do. God made that baby. Now I've got to make sure it makes it. It is my dream. I'm sorry, Ariel. God made that. And he's fully capable of doing the rest of it. I got to make sure the right person gets it later. I got to make sure that the money's taken care of. I think we forgot to put batteries in stuff. Or maybe that means you're done. I wouldn't even need that, but people can't hear online. But think about that. And you saw how quickly we went from who cares who gets elected to unborn babies. Pretty severe stuff. Not very severe stuff. And yet in our hearts, they ought to run the same. We don't need a cause to get behind. So that's what I'm talking about, the storms that you and I create. So whether they're created, whether they just happen, the same God sitting in front of us and saying, I'm right here. I'm right here. Not only can you lean on me, but this is mine anyway. So we're saying bring it on to the storm. And God's going, I got this. We say bring it on, and God says, I got this. We can't be saying bring it on because I got this. We can say bring it on, God's got this. I'd love to be there too. I'd love to be able to look at my storms as they're happening and go, bring it on. He's got you. The guy who walks around with the bigger guy. The guy who walks around with a Tim on his shoulder just near you, and you taunt people who are smaller than him. and bigger than you, because you know Tim will be there to take care of the problem? That's what I want with God. I want to be able to just look at my life and go, come on, he's got it. You right? Don't bring it on so that I can handle it. Bring it on so that I can let him handle it. Wouldn't that be cool? Just look at it life and go, that's all you got? Planet? That's all you got? Satan? That's all you got? Flesh? That's all you got? Sin? That's all you got? Bring it. Because he's got it. 2 weeks ago he said, Jesus wrote, I've overcome all this. I've already beat all this. This is nothing. Nothing at all. Am I diminishing your problems? I hope maybe I'm making you aware that they are a little diminished in the eyes of God, so that he can elevate his presence in your life. And that's the only reason. Not so they'll forget, but they will elevate him. It's kind of a byproduct. The more I operate within his presence and understand it's all about him anyway, the byproduct is I start saying this doesn't matter as much as I thought it did. And then he's able to come back around me and go, it's okay. It's okay. And then it's easier for us to understand, I got you. I already took care of the storm, and I got you. And then you'll move to the next phase, and that's enough. Bring it on. He can handle it. And then he comes over to us and says, I got you. I handled the storm. Now I got you. Let's not even look at the storm now. Let's just hang out together. I like to really personify. Let's just hang out together. Let's just come over here in the shadows and hang out and let that storm go. It's a great place to be. I think it's possible. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I definitely want it. And so that's what I'm pressing into God for. And you've all got the storms. They're all in different waveforms. But he's right in the middle. He's holding the line. That's his purpose and his presence.
1 Corinthians 6:19.
How'd you go from Romans 1 Corinthians? You were just wrong.
I was wrong.
One time a week, you've just had it.
That's right. Okay, that's right.
Okay, 1 Corinthians what?
Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own.
There you go. I just put life in there.
There you go.
Yeah. So God moved in. It's not ours anyway. His purpose, his presence, always flatline across our life. Always constant. Isn't it about time something was constant in your life?
Yes. Amen.
Yeah. There he is. Let's stand and go. Thank you, Marcus. Y'all love on them. Let's pray together and we'll go. God, thank you that we do have the ability to press in. We do have the ability to recognize that you're a boat. Thanks for being our lifeline. Thanks for being there at all times. May I recognize that. Not just when it's bad, but absolutely all the time. In your name we pray.